So Broadsheet is the,
Kind of like the Melbourne magazine in a way, isn't it?
I think Broadsheet's not just Melbourne. I think it's everywhere. But, it's kind of like the culture and foodie publication.
My wife's into it, which tells me it's not interesting.
Well, it tells you where, where's cool to eat and what's going on in the state, basically. And, it's somewhat of a well-revered publication. So they published this, and I promise you I'm going to make a really good point. What happened to brunch?
Well, there's a first for everything.
Can you, for once, just shut up? Melburnians aren't lining up for hotcakes and avo toast the way we used to. How did we fall out of love with the meal once synonymous with this city, and what has replaced it? And it goes on to talk about how there's been a huge decline in people going out for brunch. And, some of the people with the Melbourne institutions, like This Is Higher Ground, are saying, things have changed and we're still busy to a degree, but no one's coming in for lunch, brunch the way they used to.
Yeah.
Now, before I tell you what people say in the comments, what do you reckon people say in the comments?
No one's got money. No one can afford it. The prices are outrageous.
Yeah, and who's to blame?
I'm going to guess they're probably blaming the establishments rather than blaming inflation and government and regulation.
Correct. Now, Broadsheet does unfortunately have quite a strong contingent of lefties. To be fair, a lot of them was it's too expensive. And I would agree. We don't go out for brunch anymore for that reason.
It is too expensive. I make my own breakfasts and I do all my own cafe level stuff at home now. I very rarely eat out. But it's such an important distinction. Who are you blaming for it being too expensive?
Yeah.
Because it is too expensive, that's true. But who you blame then determines what you view as the solution.
And so, as I say, I always go through the comments and I click on people to see.
Because you're a masochist.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, are they Gen Z? Are they millennial? What's their job? Are they left leaning? Whatever. I'm always looking for context. And aside from everyone saying the same thing, it is too expensive. Like people saying one brunch can be a week's worth of groceries.
Yeah.
I miss meeting it out every day. I'd like to, but I can't afford it. I would say the same. Like G and I, the last time we went out for brunch, it cost us $120 for two of us.
Well, see, the secret is to have your own chickens. So people objected last time when I talked about my breakfast last time. People were like, how can you afford that? Well, because I buy the salmon when it's on discount. I have my own chickens.
Where were your chickens? I didn't see them when I was there.
So they're at the house next door. So my parents are next door.
Right.
And you have to have a friend that makes sourdough.
Yeah.
So if you've just get a podcasting buddy that decides to be a tradwife and make sourdough, then own your own chickens and buy discount salmon, and hey presto.
Tell the audience what I did for you this morning.
Oh, well, I assume that you had G working like a slave last night. Please don't insult me by having, it's not only 6 hour sourdough, is it? Don't insult me like that. Surely it stretches back into yesterday, where you were stretching the sourdough and making a beautiful, lovely looking loaf of sourdough bread that I will take home with me, and I will have my salmon and eggs on tomorrow morning. It
was a 36-hour loaf.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, day and a half. Okay.
It's like sourdough is not a quick thing to do.
Oh, no, I know. It's usually at least 12 hours.
Yes. So I like to let it sit in the fridge for just under 24 hours if I time it well.
Nice.
That's when you get maximum fluffiness and crustiness. Anyway, so back to this article. So it's talking about there's a split sentiment. A lot of people, like I said, are talking about it's too expensive, which we all agree on. But there are people saying that cafe owners are greedy and they are extorting people with their prices. Now, this is the exact same thing about supermarkets price gouging. All of this comes back to government. Yeah. And I'm sitting here waiting for someone to point it out. And the closest I got was, where was the comments up the top here? Cost of meals, weekend surcharges, card surcharges, everything adds up, especially with the cost of living crisis on top of this. I love brunch. I love supporting local business, but it's becoming harder and harder to actually afford.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So, look, hospitality is an area where people can kind of wrap their head around a little bit more easily than, let's say, heavy industry or these sorts of things. So let's talk this through for a minute. They've mentioned in that comment the weekend surcharges. They came in when the government said you have to pay your employees penalty rates on weekends.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, whether the employee likes it or not, the employee themselves might actually prefer to have Tuesday and Wednesday off. That might suit them for their own reasons. Yeah. They have no vested interest in which days get paid more. Now they're forced to be paid more on those weekends, and obviously the owners have to recoup that. This idea that owners are price gouging, that they're just sitting there as fat cats, diving into silos full of money whenever they go home
Doing
from work.
the Donald Duck.
Well, have a look at how many establishments are going out of business and how frequently. It is a boom and bust industry. Hospitality is a boom and bust industry at the best of times.
Yeah.
But they're getting squeezed. All of their costs, all their input costs are going up. Just the electricity alone to run the air conditioner and the lights and
they're absorbing all the land tax from the landlords.
All of those costs. They're absorbing all of that, and they're also having to pay ever higher penalty rates and minimum wages to their staff. The cost of coffee beans, everything's going up.
Unreliable staff. So I've got two friends who are prolific hospitality veterans, and they have a lot of establishments. I won't say who or where. And between the two of them, they own a lot of places.
Yeah.
And their number one gripe, is the staff will just call in sick 5 minutes before work, maybe want to work for 2 hours. Like, that unreliability makes it very difficult to plan the day.
Yep.
And so they're stepping in, and they're often working a lot. And so they've gone from running the business to having to work in the business. And they're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. And that takes them away from where they need to be, which is in that sort of direction, watching the trends and thinking about the future of the business and all of that. Hospitality is a really, really tough game, and it's extremely difficult to make money doing it at the moment. I understand the prices are obscenely high. That is true. The problem is not the establishments themselves. Let me do this, please. Indulge me for a moment, because I haven't talked about this on this podcast for a little while. The issue is the gap between what an employee gets paid and the spending power they actually get to use. So a business has to set their prices to recoup all of their costs, including the full cost of their employees. And let's say there's an employee that costs the company $100,000 a year. Okay, let's just hypothesize that for a nice simple round number. Well, 12% of that's going to be gone in superannuation.
Yep.
So that's not useful to the employee for them meeting the cost of living. Right, that's gone out of the equation. After that, you've got After that, they have their income tax deducted, right, which is going to be sort of 30%, 25 to 30% of their total across the remainder of their income. So now already you're down around sort of $65,000 remaining, and people say, okay, well, you get $65,000 out of a $100,000 salary package. That's not too bad, but we're not done yet, because every single thing that person buys, with a handful of exceptions, also attracts GST. Plus, there's a bunch of things that they'll buy that attract excises of their own, including fuel, including alcohol, including tobacco, if they happen to buy any of those products. Then there's all of the other fees and charges that they're going to pay, including, for example, land taxes and land rates. And even if you're a renter, you're paying rates because that landlord has to recover those costs. You've got all your various registrations and licenses, your fishing license, your car driver's license, your boat license, this and that. When you add it all up, which I have done for past videos, more than half of a person's pre-tax income is gone.
Yep.
In terms of their actual spending power.
Yep.
But that doesn't even include the superannuation. So actually, if you look at their superannuation inclusive salary package, you then actually have to deduct nearly 60% to get down to the amount of actual purchasing power they have. But I'm sorry, we're still not done, because that $100,000 salary package doesn't cost the employer $100,000. They often will be paying payroll tax on top of that, 2.5% thereabouts. They've also got to have the HR department and all the other compliance stuff that goes along with having employees that does actually cost them. So now you've got a $105,000 cost to the employer for maybe a $40,000 worth of actual spending power once the government has clawed out all of that crap. But the prices of everything that you're trying to buy with that $40,000 has been set to recoup the 105.
Yes.
That's why you're sitting there going, I can't make, you might be being paid the most you've ever been paid.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there going, how come this still doesn't, the math doesn't math.
Yeah.
And the math can never math for as long as 60% is going missing in the middle. You can get all the pay rises you want. We can have inflation. You can be on $1 million a year.
Yeah.
But all that's going to happen is now the employers are setting their prices to recoup $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Right? We've got exactly the same problem. That gap, that delta between what you cost your employer and the actual real world spending power that you get left with, that's the problem that we need to fix.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing in the cost of hospitality. That's what we're seeing in the cost of living, the cost of absolutely everything. When you look at a cafe and you go, how can they charge so much? That's obscene. Understand it's because they have to recoup the costs that have been blown out of all control, and you're trying to buy with the portion that's left.
Yeah. There's two comments here that really stood out to me. One is, cafes got greedy, and I think it's okay to charge $30 for simple bacon and eggs. When was the last time you went to the supermarket and tried to buy eggs and bacon? You can't buy eggs for under $10 these days. Like, And that we went through that whole like time of not being able to get them.
Yeah.
And bacon is $15.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. And also understand, like, if the establishment is not, like, if the cost of the actual food is more than about 25% of the dish, that place is going out of business soon.
100%. Because once you add everything on top of it.
Everything on top of that. So when they're serving alcohol, their input cost, the actual alcohol needs to be no more than 1/3.
Yeah.
When they're serving food, it needs to be no more than 1/4.
Yeah. And then there's another one here talking about the turnover. So you get 90 minutes, which I would agree. I understand why they do the turnover. They're trying to get 2 sittings.
Yeah.
But when I'm going out for dinner, I want to sit down, relax, and have a chat. I don't want to be pushed out.
But again, make that decision and book the place that you go to on the basis that they're
Oh,
not
100%.
doing that.
And that's the thing. It's like, I totally get why they do it, but that's why I don't go to some places for that reason. If they're like, oh, it's a 90-minute sitting. But then this one up here, this one cracked me up. 2018, millennials accused of spending all their money on avocado toast instead of buying a house. 2025, millennials accused of not spending enough money on avocado toast.
Yeah, okay.
I was like,
I'll pay that. That's fine.
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Listen, I know you have to put up with Carly as well, but aren't I worth it? Just follow for me. Just like and subscribe and share and just tell everyone about me. Don't mention Carly. Don't tell them that she's there as well. Just kind of like she's the relative that nobody talks about. Like let's just make a deal. We won't talk about her. Just follow for me. Yeah? Follow, like, subscribe, buy us a coffee. Yeah? I'm just there. That'd be great. That'd be really appreciated. Because honestly, you try putting up with Carly before you've had coffee in the morning. It's not fun. Thanks.